Apologies guys, welcome back to the live stream. It's a technical glitch there with the game that crashed, so apologies for that, but hopefully you are back with us as we are back in the race. So, an update for you, Amstel leads with a 5.3 second lead to Jetpack Nebula in the number 25 Lamborghini, and he has Storico right on his tail. So yeah, apologies for the last stream, just abruptly ending. It was due to the game crashing, but we are back on live from race 2 of the season opener of FRL Super Sprint Sunday, as we have Ams, the winner of race 1, is currently on course to repeat the success of race 1 as he is leading from Jetpacker. But we have a right battle going on here for P2 as Storico is only 0.3 seconds away from Jetpacker in the number 25 Lambo, so we're going to stay on board for these. It's worth noting we do have a couple of retirees from the race, and that they are Captain Beak and Nico, I believe, are retirees.
Halfway through, keep it up.
So halfway, as you would have heard, halfway into the race of race 2 of this new Sunday sprint format of 2 half-hour races. There is no pit stop required, so it is pretty much start to flag, foot to the floor racing, as Storico continues to keep in the rearview mirrors of Jetpack Nebula. Slight tech error, that is correct. We had the game crashed on me, so apologies for that guys. It wasn't my fault this time, the game just completely crashed on me as I went to cycle through some of the interior cameras of the cars, so I won't be doing that again. So I'm just going to stick with this camera angle. As you may imagine, even though the spectator mode is an improvement to what we had before, it's a little bit buggy. I think the game's just a little bit unstable in places, so I don't want to curse it for a second time and try and do an onboard shot and crash it again. Looks like we've got a car off at the chicane. I'm just going to bring up the overview just to see which car that was. It's car number 83 potentially? Lamoro? Just stick on board to see who it was. And we've got car number 29, Shadow Lancer, going off. He unfortunately retired early from the first race, so he'll be looking to finish this one, currently in P16. Just go back down to the front of the grid. That's the top 225 is really getting quite tasty now. So we have Marty on board now with 226. BMW has robbed the Bentley. The boat was looking for the nearest canal river there, coming out of Tosa. He's managed to keep it on the track, and he is currently running in P5. Marty, who again gets them into Shadowlands, so he's looking for a strong race too, because he did. I think he lost the car at the Villeneuve chicane, maybe the Tamburello chicane, and they finished quite low down the grid after race 1. So he'll be looking for a top 5 finish here to regain some confidence and regain some points. Currently finds himself 1.8 on the podium, and it looks like Jetpacker has also kind of stabilised his gap to Storico. Storico really was causing him some hassle the last couple of laps, but that gap has now been extended to 1.9. So that's your podium, guys, going into the final 10 minutes of race 2 of the season opener at Imola. Ams P1, Jetpacker Nebula P2 and Storico P3. As you'll see from your timing screens on the left hand side of the screen, Marty and Rob are not too far behind. I'm trying to bring you the closest action, guys, on the grid. It's sometimes hard to keep with every single battle throughout. As you'll see from the timings, most cars are fairly evenly gapped out at the moment, so just trying to bring you where I can as we have a flick through the field. Looks like Marty's got a drive-through registered there. That must be for track limits. I'm not sure where he's been getting track limit warnings on. I wasn't aware of any particular corners. Potentially the exit of Piratella, turn 9 and 10 is where you can go out wide, but I can only imagine that's track limits. So drive-through for Marty, so that really is. Hopefully he doesn't blame me for that, because I was just saying a minute or two ago that he's looking for a strong finish in race 2 after making a mistake in race 1. So yeah, that's unfortunate. Let's just have a quick look to see where he did. Oh, I can't look back because my game crashed. Otherwise, I was about to tell you where he finished in race 1. And he's now gone into the pits to serve that. So let's just stay on board for a minute and just see where he comes out. There is quite a big field spread, so hopefully he doesn't lose too many positions. He's got car number 4 coming down, which is Shanzo. He's got car 17 and 83, which is Palamoid and Lamaro. He should be out for them. I'll imagine this is going to be quite close. We're definitely going to stick on board with this. So let's go on board with Palamoid as he comes flying down to start the next lap. And Marty, sorry, he is still going. It's quite a longer pit lane than you'd probably imagine. He's probably going to lose more than I thought, actually. Another bunch of cars come flying past. He's going to rejoin him here. This is going to be tasty going into this start of this lap. Where is he going to feed into? That's cool. I think he's going to have to really get off the power. So as for UI updates, I think he's finding himself in P14. So that is unfortunate for Marty there. So guys, hope you have enjoyed the opening couple of races from the Super Sprint Sunday. I'm going to try and bring you a couple of post-race interviews with maybe a driver. We'll see what we can get. I'll do my best impression of a Martin Brundle grid walk and see where I can get my microphone into. See who'll be having a chat with me. Hopefully get more of an interaction than a Kimi Raikkonen interview. So, as I said, the field is fairly spread out here. drivers are all fairly evenly gapped. LSC in just under a second behind Moss. Can he close that gap? And Porsche. And we also have, looks like we have Gabri really pushing Chico. I'll stay on board for this for a minute. Gabri in the 729 McLaren up on the gearbox of that 61 Ferrari. Heading out of turn 4. He's fighting for P11 here, and we've got a right gaggle of cars following. Probably the closest action we've got on track at the moment with these cars. We'll stay on board with the 729 McLaren, which is D. Gabri in P12. He's really trying to hassle and push off Chico. Every time I say Chico, I have to really fight the urge to say Chico time. Any X Factor fans out there would understand that reference. As we come through out of the car, through out to head down the hill to Ravazza. Such a tricky corner. I keep saying that it really is a tricky corner if they get it right. Downhill braking zone. Got to be ever so careful on the brakes. It's all about this exit. Back on board with the number 8 Porsche LSC, and really starting to close up now to the 91 Audi. Moss 91. Up the hill from Tosa towards the kink in the road T8 to the left hand of Piratella. Great corner if you get it right. But I've got to turn the car in early. Bit of an early apex I think on that corner. And then horrendous turns 11, 12 and 13 of Aqua Minerale. Such a crucial part of the track. Win or lose time in that corner. And then can they be aggressive over the curbs at turn 14 and 15 of the outer chicane? You can really abuse the curbs there if your car can take it. So my assistant producer is in my ear saying Marty finished P14 in race 1. Thank you for that little bit of information. So yeah, Marty P14 in race 1, currently finding himself in P14, so it's potentially a case of lightning striking twice, as they say, as he's having a little bit of a rough time in that beam. It's really not liking that chicane at the moment, is it? As we see it tumble over the bumps, the sausage curbs. He'll be hoping not to have a repeat of race 1 and finishing in P14, but he's currently 5 seconds down the road from the McLaren up ahead, so it is looking likely with only 3 minutes left. Let's have a look to see King of the Hills. How's he looking in that 888 Porsche? Representing the FRL racing team in the livery. Got a car off at Piratella, car number 3. Who is that? It's Jester. It's gone wide in the Ferrari again, like another FRL driver. Oh, that Ferrari looks like he's going to fail an MOT. That Ferrari does not look happy. He's in the middle of the track there. They're not sure what's happening. He's drifting to the inside, trying to get out of the way. That Ferrari looks like it's been through the ends. It certainly won't pass an MOT, will it? That Ferrari is going to be... Yeah, I think he's getting out of the way again at Aqua Minerale. He must have gone wide. potentially dip the tyres into the gravel exit. Piratella spun the car around, hit the barrier. I'd assume that's what's happened anyway, you know, putting two and two together by looking at the front of that car. I imagine the steering is completely off as well. So, last 2 minutes of the race, guys. AMS, yet again, we're seeing a repeat of race 1 where he's just going off into the sunset. I say a sunset, it's fairly cloudy in Imola right now, but he's 8 seconds up the road as Jetpacker tries his best at repeating from race 1 on going wide at Piratella, currently in P2. 5 seconds behind him is Storico in P3 in the Audi, in the 88 Audi. We then have Rob in P4, really consistent 2 drives from Rob so far. Podium position in race 1, now looking for a P4 in race 2, so nice and consistent from Rob. Then got Milden in P5, Moss in P6, Elysium, who is keeping him honest, very honest, 0.3 seconds behind in P7. Now Shamso in P8, Polamoid in P9, Lamaro P8, both P10 in the pardon. Gabri 11th, Chico in 12th. Chico in 13th now. Marty P14, King of the Hills 15, Shadow 16th, Lewis 17th, Gilas 18th and Brandon 19th, and then Darren in P19 is the top 20. We'll go through the rest of the order at the end of the race. So, final 20 seconds, leader on the final lap. Darren is, we'll stick with these just for a couple of corners. Darren is really keeping Brando under pressure here, going into Acqua Minerale. Can Brando keep it cool? He's got a couple of cars behind him. If he loses control, now it's Darren. Yes, the Ferrari is not liking that. Darren unfortunately losing a position there to N-Specs. So Brando will be breathing a bit of a sigh of relief seeing those two in the background squabbling as he can just shoot off down the road. But we'll join our race leader AMS as he comes into the Alta chicane and then down the hill to Ravazza 1 and Ravazza 2. And we'll stay with him for the rest of the race, the rest of the lap, sorry. Watch him bring home number 15 Audi for race number 2 and win number 2 for any last minute dramas here. Final corner negotiated nicely, and that should be it. Headlights are flashing, an awesome drive from AMS. 15 Audi comes home to win race 2. Fantastic. And Jetpacker likewise following to bring home second place, and Storico in P3. So that's the podium, guys. AMS, Jetpacker, Nebula and Storico. We then have Rob P4, Milden coming home in 5th, Moss coming home in 6th, Elysium in 7th. Shamso just a few cars behind. He'll be looking like he's coming home in 8th. And the number 4 Ferrari. Another nice couple of drives from Shamso. Amaro, Becky Pardon in P9, Shamso P10, Gabri coming home in 11th, Reese, Ryan in set 12th, Chico 13th, Marty 14th, close finish there between Marty, King of the Hills coming home in the Triple Eight Porsche, number 15th, Shadow Lancer, who will be lucky, sorry not lucky, but will be happy to finish this race after his involvement in that in race 1. Lewis Mason coming home in 17th with Gilas flashing his lights behind him. He'll be bringing it home in 18th. And it looks like Brando has managed to fight off the last couple of laps of pressure from N-Specs and will be coming home in 19th. Cracking drive, Brando. N-Specs in 20th. And then we've got a couple of drivers who've already finished there. It's Darren in 21st, Daskall 22nd, Jack's 23rd, and then we've got Jester, Nico and Captain BQ all retired early from the race. So guys, that is your opening 2 races done. of the opening from Imola of the FRL Sunday Sprint. Ams is your double race winner. Congratulations, Ams! Absolutely cracking race, cracking drives. I'll try and get you a couple of see if we can get a driver in for a post-race interview. So just bear with me for a couple of minutes, guys. Axel Racing, how are you doing? Can you hear me? I'm not too bad. Now, we tried doing this at the end of the Nürburgring race, and what happened on the live stream was everyone can only hear my voice and not yours. So just bear with me while I'm going to make sure we can hear your voice on the actual stream. Right, Axel, unfortunately, mate, you're not coming through on the comms. So, let's have a look at some of these settings. So have you got your privacy settings where your voice is able to be shared and streamed? Let's have a look. Okay, so if you go to your party settings, so click game base, go to your party. Click the three dots where it says more, and you got voice party settings, voice chat settings, and you should have share your voice.
Hello. Right. Hopefully you can hear me. Everybody can.
We'll find out. So, so obviously, Axel, you watched the season opener then, the last first two races. What were your thoughts of the racing? I mean, I saw a couple of your comments saying that the pace was pretty quick.
Yes. Well, first of all, congratulations to your first, well, technically second comms stream, obviously, but your first for the season. So yeah, it was good to watch, mate. Very entertaining to watch yourself do it. So well done, mate.
Thank you.
The pace is insane. You know, I've been doing a bit of practicing this evening for tacos, the new season coming on Tuesday, and I thought I was doing okay until I watched tonight's stream. I think I might have to find another half a second somewhere around Imola, because some of them guys tonight were insane. Big congratulations to Ams, two wins, absolutely a great result for himself. I did a bit of research actually during the second race and just noted a couple of things down. Ams is obviously in tier 1 for Taco Tuesdays, and his teammate is Ben Mildren. So those two together, I think, are going to be unbeatable as a team next year, given how quick both Ams and Ben are, really.
Yes, they'll certainly look a strong partnership, don't they?
No, absolutely. That was the first thing I jotted down. The second thing was, obviously, I'm not sure how many times I need to mention Dasco in two races, mate, but you did that a lot this evening, mainly because we know how quick he is, and his pace again was insane this evening.
I think he's definitely was a commentator favourite.
Yes, no, definitely. But I noticed he's in tier 3 for the upcoming season. I am no doubt that he'll pretty much. Obviously, we don't know about everybody in each tier. We can only comment on who we see and what we know, really. But given his pace, I'll be very surprised if he's not in the top 2 or 3 at the end of tier 3 come Taco Tuesdays. And I think his pace so much so that I think he might even jump tier 2 with, because I know this season a lot of it is based on the DR rating, wasn't it?
Yes.
To separate the tiers. So I think I wouldn't be surprised, given his pace, he might even skip tier 2 if he's that quick and go straight into tier 1 in the following season. But we'll see. We'll wait and see, won't we, really? So yes.
Yeah, no, I think with Das as well, we've seen on race 1 how he was a little bit out of position given the qualified ban, but he kind of came through some of the field with some really good overtakes.
I think in free practice, I believe he was easily top 10, was he not? I think he was just, from what I remember from free practice, yeah. So yeah, insane pace from himself. And then it brings to tier 2 of tacos, and the reason I mentioned tacos because obviously it's the new season coming up in 2 days' time, really, and the way it's worked out this year, we get to see what the pace is like, because obviously Sprint Sundays share the same calendar with tacos. It's nice to get a good idea of what actually the pace is going to be for the upcoming race, because of course it's okay to practice by yourself, going round and round and round, and you think you're quick, but it's nice to get a real good idea of of who's really going to be in amongst it next season. And the two I've picked out from because we obviously, myself and yourself are in tier 2. The two I've picked out is Shamsho and Karet Elysium, or I'm not how to pronounce
I've
his
been
name.
pronouncing
really.
it Elysium or Elysium, yeah.
Elysium, yeah. You know, we know, everyone knows what we're talking about anyway. So yeah, they both finished 6th and 7th in the first race. I didn't quite catch the end of the second race because obviously I turned it off, obviously because I knew you was going to sort of be giving them a call really. But I think they're about 6th, 7th, maybe 8th in the second race. So I think those two in tier 2 are going to be at least, you know, top 3, top 4 of most races, given the pace they showed tonight as well.
So heading into next weekend, then, what's your thoughts on Misano as a track? What kind of racing do you reckon we're going to get from there?
Misano is it's not a favourite of mine. I won't lie. It's I'm not too sure what a good time. I believe 134s, 135s are a pretty good pace round there. It's a bit more open, isn't it, Misano? Unlike Imola, which is obviously a very, very tight, windy track, a bit like Brands Hatchard, isn't it? Very not much room for overtaking, really.
It's very much about getting into the rhythm at Imola. You know, if you find yourself on the pace, then it's all right, but you can easily lose time by getting stuck into traffic. So Misano, I think you're right. There's probably will be a little bit more open.
No, definitely. I think Misano reminds me a little bit of Paul Ricard, just that very, very flat track. There's not much, you know. I believe, you know, a bit like Paul Ricard, there's not much undulation as it is. You know, very, very flat, very wide. A lot of runoff area as well, which can get you some track warnings quite easily, you know. So I noticed. I think, was it Rob? Who was it tonight? I wrote his name there. I think was it Marty? I think Marty got a drive through. Marty got a drive through tonight? Yeah, you know. So
he did. He had I think he went off in the race 1, which put him down to P14, and then he got a drive through in race 2, which again put him back to P14. So I think that his pace was certainly top 5, top 6, top 7, but unfortunately 2 mistakes, and you can see what happens. He fall back down the grid.
No, definitely. Funny thing is, actually, when you had a bit of a technical issue, I jumped onto Ben's stream, and I noticed he also had 2 track warnings on the screen. So obviously there's
interesting.
Yeah, so the you know, sort of I don't know the rest of them, but obviously certainly a few of them have been pushing the boundaries of Imola's track this evening. I think because, you know, it's only a 30-minute race, isn't it? So you can't. You have to get into the flow very, very quickly with these sprint races, unlike, you know, your hours or the endurance races. You can sort of take time to build your pace up and keep it safe. But I think with these sprint races, you really have to be on it from the word go, and which certainly was tonight.
Yes, indeed. So I'm trying my absolute hardest to get a driver in, but everyone seems to be very reluctant to put their name forwards. We seem to have quite a few Kimi Raikkonens on the grid, I think, where everyone's happy just to keep the helmet on and
not say nothing.
yeah, so I think we may have to try and line up a pre-race interview next week for one of the drivers and give them a little bit more advance notice.
No, definitely. Can I just say very quick, actually, a big congrats to Brando as well tonight. He got P19. I think he got P20 in the first race, I believe, P19, P20.
I think it was P19 in the second race, I believe.
Got it, yeah. So yeah, top 20 for Brand as well. I know obviously he has his own issues, and I believe from what I understand, he also races his own controller. He hasn't got a wheel, so yeah, to get a top 20 with the amount of skill and quick drivers in tonight's lobbies is a big well done to Brando, I think, for tonight as well, Matt.
Cracking shout out, yeah, cracking shout out. So, if I have to put you on the spot, Axel, driver of the day. Come on, give me your driver of the day.
Oh man, it has to go to Am, surely. So I qualified P1, and you know, and I think the second race he certainly drove away a lot easier than was it Jetpacker?
It is, yeah. Jetpacker came through in second place, yeah.
In second place, yeah. So yeah, and I watched most of the first as well, and I noticed sort of Jetpacker up until he had his mistake, he was kind of keeping with AMS, but yeah, certainly the second race, AMS seemed to have that slight pace advantage over him, and kind of just drove off with the distance, you know. So yeah, I think race of the day, certainly AMS for qualifying first in two cracking P1s, I reckon, Matt. He's definitely going to be the player to beat this season in Super Sundays.
Cool, cracking stuff. Well, thank you very much for joining me on the post race chat. It was certainly a good couple of races to watch, and I'm looking forward for us to taking part on Tacos and Tuesday. I think what's so funny about us two is we run as teammates as pretty much every series we enter, but our pace is so similar. So we're looking forward to getting on the track on Tuesday, and hopefully this is giving both of us a little bit of an insight onto that race. But yeah, thank you for joining me, Axel. It's much appreciated, mate. And everyone who's watching, thank you for all those who have joined us, the likes, the comments, any new subscribers. We will see you all next week. Take care. Have a good week all. Bye bye.
Bye.